Good day, everyone. This is Rob Peters. I'm the founder of Standard of Trust Group. I work with leaders and businesses around value-based commitments and earning relationship capital. That's kind of what I'm known for and passionate about. And I have a good friend and thought leader, Bill Lampton. Bill, it's great to have you.
Hey, terrific to be with you as always, Rob. I have such great respect for what you do with your standard of trust and relationship capital. It's just amazing what you have accomplished first in the business world as a corporate leader, and then later on, and now currently as a consultant and spokesman, applying what you learned from all those on the scene days.
Well, appreciate that, Bill. For the audience, Bill is someone I've known for the last few months. Got introduced by Terry Brock, who wrote the book Clout, to him. Love his work, and Bill has been of great value, kind of getting me clear about how to effectively communicate. Bill, why don't you talk a little bit more about, as president of Championship Communication, what your purpose and how you service your clients, kind of what your focus is.
Thank you very much. What I launched in 1997 was my company, Championship Communication. I had started my professional career, as a professor of communication at the University of Georgia. After 5 years there, I wondered if any of that communication theory I was teaching really worked. So I went into management in higher education and then healthcare for a period of 22 years. During all my time in management, I saw all the mistakes that were being made in organizations as far as communication was concerned. So I dedicated then my career and my life and my learning and my activities to helping people identify their communication problems, and organizations as well, and then find solutions to them. I've done that as a keynote speaker, speaking at many conferences and conventions, as a seminar leader, as a speech coach, and now as a video trainer. And just to sum that up, I've worked in the areas of communication, motivation, sales, and customer service.
Fantastic. So this is a good segue to the purpose of today's conversation. And hopefully for everyone out there in the internet world, hopefully we'll have future conversations to continue this importance of communication in today's hyper-connected, I dare say, morally interdependent world today. So Bill, today's conversation is around ethics and communication. So I'm going to let you frame the conversation. What does that mean to Bill Lampton?
To me, it goes back a long way to the early studies that I had even when I was in graduate school, Rob, where I looked at some of the early teachers of rhetoric. For example, Aristotle, who, as you and our listeners know, mastered so many topics. In his book, The Rhetoric, he talks about what are the keys to persuasive communication. He mentions three. One is logos, that's what we know as logic. Another one is ethos, and that's what we know as credibility. And then the third one is pathos, which we know as emotion. Aristotle said when you look at those three, he says clearly the communicator's character may very well be the most important aspects and strengths that we have in communication. In other words, he's saying you can have all the strategies, all the tactics perfected, but unless the speaker's character, the communicator's character, reinforces the message, then the message can be totally off base. It can lose its impact, and the person loses all ability to communicate persuasively. We have, it's interesting, you and I know, follow current events very much, and it's interesting to me, and I'm sure to you and our viewers as well, that we've come up with an entirely new language which has to do with communication and ethics. How many people now will ever say, and this often comes into our viewing and listening of political figures, how many people will say, I lied, or I twisted the truth? No, we've got a whole new vocabulary now. It's I misspoke, or I spoke off the cuff, or I spoke inappropriately. And I'm not naming names or parties. I'm just saying these are the distorted ways we have of evading our responsibility to communicate ethically.
Well, it's interesting because, I'm passionate about earning this intangible asset relation capital, and values have played an important role. Very quickly, you realize in order to consistently earn relation capital, you had to have some form of ethic, ethos. Ours was honesty, accountability. You talk about character. Let's talk about that a little bit more. How do you display that character with the words and how you communicate? How do you make that visible and hit people emotionally? Because character it's intangible. People can't necessarily. So how do you display that with your communication?
There's several ways. One, of course, is to have consistency between your words and your actions. I go back to one of my favorite authors and thinkers, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, what you are speaks so loudly that I cannot hear a word you say. And this means, of course, that the communicator's life and professional behavior and even family life, all of these must correspond with what the speaker is trying to communicate. That's one item. Another one would be consistency. That is, are we saying consistently the same thing repeatedly? And in our area, which you referred to a minute ago, of instant internet connection, anytime we cut on a newscast, we're very likely to see, as I've seen in the last day or two, someone who makes a statement and then it's compared through video comments with a statement that leader, whoever, whatever position that leader she might hold, made 6 months ago or a year ago or 2 years ago. There was a time, of course, when national figures could make statements in one state, for example, and then they could travel and an hour later make another statement contradicting that in another state, and that would not be tracked. Today, of course, you're tracked not only geographically, but you're tracked time-wise. So consistency has a great deal to do with it as well.
And if you've got values, you will be consistent. You don't have to remember what time zone you're in, what video is being recorded of you, because if you're being yourself and you have real ethics, then you should be consistent. Hey, we're all human, right? So
yes, it reminds me very much of Mark Twain saying that the good thing about being honest is that you don't have to have too good a memory.
Exactly. So that gets to the next kind of logical question to ask you as we go on this conversation. We're all human. We make mistakes. So what's your advice, or what's the ethos in when you make a mistake? How do you correct that? How do you, because it's very easy. It's hard to build relationship capital consistently. It takes effort. It takes values. It takes credibility, competency. But if you fall on your sword, you make a mistake, something goes wrong in your life, something doesn't feel quite right amongst your stakeholders, how would you advise people to communicate and recover from that?
This is a topic that I have written about. It's a topic I've produced videos about. To me, it is vital that people admit their own vulnerability, and especially leaders. If a leader is willing to face a group and say, I made a mistake when I recommended that our company go in this direction, that goes a long way toward reinforcing the person's character and their credibility. The person who instead is always trying to blame someone else or blame external circumstances is not going to be held in high esteem. Esteem comes when we do apologize. And leaders should realize that that's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. And some guidelines on that: be sure that you apologize without any alibis. Don't say, well, I just had a bad day, or I was annoyed by someone else, or traffic was bad on the way in. No, take full responsibility. Apologize soon afterwards. Don't wait 2 or 3 weeks to apologize. Apologize sincerely. People can tell whether it is sincere. And then tell what you are going to do to make amends for any mistakes or any feelings that you hurt. It truly is a sign of great leaders that they will take the blame when things have gone wrong.
I couldn't say it any better than the way you said it. Now I know why you're such a great communicator, Bill. You made the point in a very succinct way. We're running out of time, but how could people kind of wrap this up in a nice bow right before Thanksgiving? Kind of give us your sense on where you think communication and ethics are going in this hyper-transparent world where I dare say a lot of executives who are moving away from this authoritarian leadership to more of a servant leadership. It's a journey. It's going to take time, but they're in a fishbowl. We're in a digital fishbowl that our behavior is being observed. And so kind of talk about where you see the future is and how you could help and how people could reach out to you. Kind of walk us through that next step that you see in ethics and communication.
It seems to me, Rob, that you made this very clear in a conversation you and I had just before this interview, where you were saying that organizations now do not want an authoritarian leader. What they want is a person, which we could almost call it a player coach, someone who's in the game with you, not someone that you're working for, but someone that you're working with. And like any good coach, this team leader offers support. Now, does this mean that the team leader doesn't offer sometimes tactful reprimands or corrections? Of course they must do that. I mean, any coach, that's their job. We're in the middle of a frenzied football season. A coach certainly is going to call his quarterback off to the side and say, next time you run that play, note that the receiver on the left side is open like it was last time and you didn't see him. I mean, certainly coaching calls for correction, and yet at the same time, the strongest leaders are those who focus not on people's failings, but on their potential, their possibilities, their strengths, and that's what we try to build.
Well, Bill, I want to thank you for your time today. You've certainly helped me kind of crystallize the importance of communication in this morally interdependent, transparent world that, if from a business sense, that I don't think we're going to any less transparency going forward, probably just going to be more transparent. So I want to thank you for your time. And how can people get a hold of you, leaders, managers, people that want to get more effective with their teams and their stakeholders?
Thank you, Rob. It's an honor and a privilege to talk with you as always. My website, championshipcommunication.com. And of course, I will welcome telephone calls to discuss my services and how they can assist you and your organization. My telephone 678-316-4300. And I will be true to my motto when you call, because my motto is helping you finish in first place.
Well, thank you, Bill. Until next time, guys, this is Rob Peters, Standard of Trust. Have a good one. Bye-bye.